listening to the #1 real estate podcast where we talk with real estate agents and professionals all across North America and really the world about their wins, losses, lessons, and stories help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm joined with my co-host of the Our Agent podcast, Vikram Deol. Before we intro our guest, Vikram, where are you at? You look like you're in a very similar spot. What's happening? Like, where are we at in the world? How you doing today? I heard it. You were on a call earlier today with somebody. How you doing? Things are good. Life is good.
Yeah, we're in Buenos Aires. We're just banging out some podcasts today. I'm downstairs. I can hear you echoing through the hallway, through the headphones.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, I love it. I can hear you in the mornings going to the bathroom. It's wonderful. But yeah, we're just chilling, man. It's been great. Like, Buenos Aires is so different than Medellin, and it really is. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, Buenos Aires is so much more metropolitan than Medellin is, but I feel like Medellin has some things like on the health and wellness space. I was thinking about that, and I'm like, like we were doing IVs over there. There was a hyperbaric chamber center, and over here I'm struggling. Maybe I don't know how to search for it, but I just can't find like some of the.
I've tried to search too. Yeah, I've tried to search too, and I couldn't find anything. So, because I've been in the rhythm now of the IV therapy, getting that done 2-3 times a week, and now it's good.
But no, it's really cool. Like, and what's interesting out here, it's like you have these mid rises, high rises, and like last night we went out to this really nice dinner, and as we're walking through the streets, and Ryan, you might appreciate that there's like these 2 newer high rises. Like, the street's beautiful. It's like it's got the pavers and the sidewalks all like, it was like little tiles. It was really pretty. And then you have this like magnificent mansion, like smack in between these 2 high rises. I mean, for privacy, like obviously you can't lay out naked in your backyard anymore, but like there's this gorgeous mansion, like big fence, old, beautiful landscaping. And there's like these 2 high rises completely like walled it in. And I was like, this is outstanding. Like it's so beautiful, and the weather's like really nice. So it's been really good out here. And that sales call today. Wow, man. Oh, my heart hurts after that one.
Hey, I heard it on the back end, but maybe we can help some real estate agents today. You said to me earlier something that was really unique. You're like, no real estate agent left behind, and that was really the premise of why we started this podcast, to really learn from people that are doing really cool things in their local market. And we have Ryan here with us. And
what's up, Ryan?
I'm really curious to know, kind of like, if you can give us a high level overview of kind of like who you are, where you're at in the world, what you're up to, what you've done in regards to real estate, so that we can like really spend the next half an hour providing value around real estate to people that are listening to the podcast. So like, give us like kind of like Spark Notes version of what you're up to and where you're at.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's already fun. Love all the noises and stuff. This is great. Good energy. So my name is Ryan Harris. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I kind of grew up around the real estate space. Just, kind of starts my background. Growing up as young as I can remember, grew up cleaning job sites, new construction job sites. I mean, real estate agents in my family, custom home builders, spec home builders, property investors. So grew up around it, and then went to college, did what anybody who gets a college degree does. They don't use it at all, and got my real estate license. I've had it about 4.5 years now. Got off to a good, quick start. I did what I think really any new age should do, which I've learned more over the last few years, but I joined a really successful team, found a great mentor. We can dive into that, but I'm a strong believer in teams. I think, focus on being a good agent first, learning how to be one, and not that split in the beginning, but sure, we can dive into that later. It's kind of my background, and haven't actually sold anything the last 6 months. I'm focused full time on a startup I founded in the real estate space, really trying to help agents run a better business. So yeah, it's my background.
Well, let's jump into, I think we'll get into your startup in a minute, but let's jump into the new agent mindset or the struggling agent mindset, because I'm a firm believer that realtors people get into business for themselves because they want success. They want to help people potentially. They want more time. They want freedom. They want to be with the people they love more, friends or family. They want to travel. Real estate's really hard. I don't care what level of real estate you're in. I don't care how much experience you have. It's an ever-changing field. It's ever more complex. Buyers and sellers are ever more sophisticated because of the amount of education, especially in North America with Zillow and Realtor and just the amount of data pools that you can do. You said something that I think is really wise. We actually just had a little bit of a debate with somebody who was a little different. And it's cool. Like, everybody's allowed their own opinion. But you said something really great about you think everybody should join a team first and not worry about splits. And I guess I have a two-part question for you. Why should they join a team, and do splits really matter?
Yeah. Let's dive in. So splits eventually matter. In the beginning, I don't think they should at all. And I don't think you can actually be a resource for any consumer and help them buy or sell right after getting your real estate license. I think any agent would agree that it doesn't teach you anything about actually being a real estate agent. And it actually blows my mind that there's people that can go be independent agents right after getting their license. It's mind blowing to me that you can do that. And I think agents that find a good team in the beginning, they can get, you see agents all the time in mid markets where I'm at, it's about a $300,000 average sale. And you see new agents make over $100,000 in their first year, and they get all that experience with it, which is worth even more than that $100,000 they got. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in teams, and I'll go even farther to say, I think it should almost be some kind of a requirement in the industry. I don't think we'll ever see that, but I think it would make real estate agents look better as a whole if it was.
Yeah, we literally that was
We echo that.
what we just talked about.
Yeah, we literally just talked about that. Yeah.
It was that line came straight out of my mouth, and Cody was like, "Yep." So when a new agent comes into the marketplace and they're super excited, they're super pumped. I'm going to make millions of dollars. I'm going to be on HGTV. I'm going to be the next Ryan Serhant, Frederick Eklund, whatever. And then they get their face just kicked in, and they get their teeth put on the curb and kicked in the back of the head 9,000 times and shot 100 times with rubber bullets, and they just get beat to hell. And then they're like, well, I don't want to give up a split to a team member that's providing me with leads, with potential training and coaching, with systems and processes, with a marketing arm, with a transaction coordination arm, with a ton of resources. How do we change the mindset that you're not giving up a split, you're actually gaining the opportunity to learn for free and make upwards of six figures if it's a good team? Like, how do we get that mindset shift for people, Ryan?
I think it's very hard. It's hard to show, or it's hard for a new agent to know everything they might have to spend on their expenses. You think you just come in and you've never spent anything on, hell, even buying signs, leads, like, oh, I'll just go post on social media is what they think, and my friends and family will work with me. Doesn't work like that. I think once somebody joins a team for long enough, they start to realize what's covered for them. But I don't know if there's a right answer to it. I think it's hard for a new agent to understand that.
Yeah,
I want to flip the question, because you being on a team, I want to speak for a second to team leads. Like, what was something that when you were on a team that was good, that made you want to stay, that a new agent should look for? And what are some things that you were like, if I ever start a team, I would never do this? Because I think that, like, in entrepreneurship, I'm always like running a company and running a marketing agency, I'm always thinking about like I'm looking back at things that leaders did in the past, and I'm like, I will never lead like this. There's no way in hell I'll ever do that. I would never yell at somebody like this. Like, I remember how that made me feel. Like, what are some things that team leads should be looking at in order to attract top talent? And like, what were some things that really drew you to that large team?
Yeah, well, I think first off, it's always a good feeling when your phone's ringing all day with leads, like active leads coming in. That's number one. But two, you need to be a great mentor towards your agents. If the agents on your team don't look at you as a mentor, I don't think you're being a good team leader. So it's really the education piece. Like as long as you have really anybody else on the team to go to and ask questions, agents that have been in it 3 years on the team, if you can ask them questions, like somebody doesn't need to be an expert to help you as a new agent. They just need to be a few steps ahead of you. So having good quality team and making sure the phone's always ringing.
As a person who ran a team and grew a team, what do you think makes for a good, like, how does an agent come in? Because I'd interview people and they'd be like, I want a 75% split. And I'm like, dude, go F yourself. Like you got a nice suit, you got some nice heels, like, but what's your experience? Like, what are you bringing to the table? You're a rookie. Like, what do you bring to the table? You want the salary? Like, I got my top guy making $300,000 a year and he's never complained about splits. And your first thing out of your mouth is, right, obviously those people don't work out. You learn that after you hire one. What makes an agent attractive to a high producing team other than like the ability to breathe?
Let's see. I guess just you see that they have a willingness to learn. Like, I think that's the most important thing as a new agent. If you're willing to learn and listen to other people, you can succeed in the industry. It's being a actual agent. The work's not hard, or it's not simple, but it just takes a lot of hard work, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think as long as you see somebody willing to learn, that's all you need to look for in an agent.
Yeah, I like it's so interesting. Me and Vic have had so many conversations because Vic ran a team out of Seattle. With we chat about this often about like just managing a team and driving like high performance. Like, how important do you think scripting and role playing and like is in regards to actually building a successful team or even just being a successful agent? Because like right now, like I've been observing what's happening in the real estate space, and then I talk with hundreds of agents like all across North America, and it's really interesting to see a lot of single agents like shifting back. I don't know if you're seeing this as well, Vic, and like a lot of single agents were shifting back to like they tried to go solo, it didn't work, and now they're going back to teams. Like,
yeah,
is that skill or is that like is it all sales? Like, what is your like kind of opinion on skill building, with being on a team and running a team and like even now like running your own like startup? Like, are some people just meant to never go out on their own and they should just always join a team? Or like, do you think it's a skill issue that some of these agents have?
Yeah, so I think it's incredibly important. Now I will say, I think you can be a high producing good agent without that stuff as long as you have a really strong sphere. But that's not many agents. So I think it's incredibly important. And I was lucky where I got into it where I was on a team who provided these coaching calls with some of the top coaches in the country, where I got to be part of that and learn. And then I think the last couple of years, the market we saw, all the new agents coming in, joining, they didn't need any skills. There was unlimited leads coming in. And now I think you're starting to see on teams, they're getting back to, all right, how do we give a listing presentation? How do we talk to a first-time home buyer? How do we talk to somebody that's scared of the interest rates? So the skills are important now. And I agree with you. I've seen, and I've been saying this for the last few months, as this market slows down, I don't think it's really slow right now, but as it slows more, you're going to see, I even think some veteran agents that have been living off their sphere have to join teams. I think that's where everything's headed.
Yeah, we just
Interesting.
well, I had a friend that joined a team, and then I have a lot of clients that, I'm always the same. Role play every day, like 7:30 to 8, role play, 8 o'clock, get on the phone. It's like if you got family and adjust your schedule, but half an hour of warm up, get on the phone. Half an hour warm up. I mean, I do the same thing. I got a script when I do my sales calls. Cody and I role play at dinner. Like, one of the great things about us living together is that we are just constantly talking about how to improve. I'm always in like a coaching program. Right now I'm in a sales program, and I'm like, man, I have just, you get rusty or you forgetful, right? You always got to be upgrading your skills. And people think that, oh, I got a college degree, I don't need to crack a book open anymore, which is so crazy. And what I see right now, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinions because I know you guys talk to a lot of people. I see a lot of agents like reaching out, like, "Hey Vic, how do we use our script again? Like, hey Vic, how do we call our sphere? Like, hey Vic, how do we contact? We haven't talked to these people in 3 years." I'm like, I know. We talk about it every week. You should be calling your sphere. You should be touching base. Like, they're like, how do we get in front and have a coffee meet? Like, we don't. And these are people that made 300,000, and I know people that made $300,000 last year that have also done 0 sales this year, and it's like the gravy just ran out, and they realized that, you know, when things dry up, you know, maybe you could touch base on it, but they realize when things dry up, they don't actually have skills. They were just there taking orders.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what I've noticed with that is, like, I go back, I break when I've had my license down into like 2 different halves. The first 2 years, second 2 years, because they were completely different. The first 2 years I had my license, let's just take buyer consults, for example. That was a big emphasis on the team. Like, no matter, even if they're ready to buy, take them to get coffee and let's lay out a plan.
Way to figure that. Go figure that. Like, that deserves a whole.
We're gonna give you a little extra love on that one, Ryan. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, but yeah, I mean, it's take them, go lay out a plan. That way they know you're providing them some kind of value. Like, it's all about showing them the value you're providing. And then the last 2 years, I haven't heard the word buyer consult one time. It's like, hey, I'm ready to buy. Okay, we got to go look at it in 2 hours and put an offer in an hour after. And what value did I provide them? I mean, you do, but you didn't lay it out for them.
Yeah, like it's so interesting. I was having a conversation the other day with Sharon, and Vic, I think you'll appreciate this. But like we were talking about how the space has gotten so interesting over the last couple of years, where it's like a lot of these, like, you know, you say like $300,000 person is now, you know, like scraping by it, hardly making any sales because like they don't know how to do a buyer consult. They don't know how to, you know, talk about the top 3 reasons why they should or shouldn't buy in today's market. And like, you know, we chat a lot about that, but like, how do we get agents to understand that buyer consults are important now when they haven't done it? And it's something like you said, like over the last year,
they've never done one, Cody.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Is like, I don't think that they think it's not important. They just never had to do one. It would be like, you don't have to wash your car. And then all of a sudden, 3 years later, somebody says, hey, that same car that you've owned for 3 years, that just like washed itself, right? Well, it didn't wash itself. Like, your wife took it to the cleaners while you were getting ready, or your husband washed it on Sunday and it was just magically clean. It's like, you know, I remember somebody saying something really funny online. They're like, you know, my buddy said this. He's like, I have this magic clothing bin. I put my dirty laundry in it, and 2 days later, my laundry's hung. It's in bags. It shows up, and he's doing that in front of his wife, and his wife just like looks at him like, you fucking asshole, like, you know. Yeah. But they never had to do a buyer consult, and that's why they don't understand the value of it. Because in 2010, when I started real estate, everything was about education.
Yeah.
2018, when a lot of these agents who are now going out of business, unfortunately, their brokerage, like, it's not their fault that their broker, their team, like, my buddy runs $1 billion a year sales team. And I was like, bro, you got to do buyer consults. He's like, bro, I ain't going to waste fucking 90. Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, these people are writing offers day one. And I was like, you got to teach your people. He's like, bro, we'll figure that out when the time churns. And this was 2020. He's like, we'll figure it out when it comes to that time. Now it's that time, and they're now figuring.
Now it's here.
Yeah.
Well, now it's here, and it's like people are now forced to do buyer consults because the industry, like, you know, like now you're not even going up against the other agent. Now you're going up against the media, which is half the battle, with the media saying like interest rates are on the rise, you know, home values are increasing. You know, you're going up against the media. So like, I'm curious, like, to know like a little bit, Ryan, though, about like what you're up to with Simba. Like, Simba's the startup, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So you transitioned out of like you're stopped selling real estate full time. Like, you obviously you still have your license, right? Like that.
Yeah, and I have a couple under contract now.
Yeah.
So.
Did you do any buyer consults? Accident buyer consults?
They're listings. Listings.
Yeah. Okay.
Not enough time for buyers right now.
Yeah. Yeah. But how are you serving the real estate industry now? Because you say you're still serving the real estate industry with your startup. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I'll go into a little bit of a backstory about how Simba came to be. So like I said, I've had my license about 4.5 years, and my first year, I got off to a quick start. I did well in a market where at the time the average home price was $200,000, and like I said, Louisville, Kentucky, and I did well. First year agent in kind of a normal market, 25 plus homes. Like, yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. And made good money on it. What I quickly realized was, luckily, I saved just enough money for taxes. But what I quickly realized was everybody teaches you how to be a real estate agent in this space. That's pretty much any of the education you get. But there is very little, if any at all, education on how to run the business part of being a real estate agent. I think that's where a lot of real estate agents actually end up leaving the business. They crush it, but they only saved enough money for taxes and didn't realize, I got to buy my own health insurance, put money into my own retirement account, then have money for my continuing education, my dues. I need to reinvest money back into my business. And I started seeing a common trend. I'm on a large team, so I get to see a lot of new agents come into the industry. And it was just a common reoccurrence I saw. So we created Simba, which is a mobile-first business management platform that takes, think of it as like your basic CRM functionality meets QuickBooks. So you can connect your bank accounts, track your deals. When you track those deals, it tells you how much to put away for taxes before it even closes. And it shows you your net commission, not your gross commission, because net commission is what matters. Connect your bank accounts, and you can do all your bookkeeping in there. And at the end of the year, you can export that in an itemized list, or it'll even fill out your Schedule C for you for your taxes.
Yeah. When you say it connects to your CRM, what's the
it's not a CRM. It has basic CRM functionality like deal tracking and contact management, but the only purpose of that in the application is so we can tell you how much to save on taxes. Like, there's no way to know the correct amount of money to save for taxes. You could set a rate on 30% aside, but I think it's really empowering to see this $500,000 house just went under contract. I have a 25% referral fee because it came from Zillow Flex, which you can put in there. And I'm on a 70-30 split with my broker, which once you set that up, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And then it closes. If it closes, here's my net commission. And out of that, I need to save $4,000 or $5,000 for taxes. So I'm not actually getting that big chunk of change. So that's like the purpose of the deal tracking. Right. Exactly.
That's funny because my KPI sheet I run in the Real Estate Growth Academy and I give to all my clients, it breaks it all down like that. I love what you're doing with this space. How are you getting it out into how are agents able to utilize it? Like, it's a new system, obviously you're a couple months old. So how are you getting it into the hands of agents, and how are you educating agents on the importance of, not just looking at the 15,000, but looking at, wait a minute, I have an assistant, I have marketing, I have all this stuff. I spend $1,000 on photography. My $15,000 listing is actually $7,000 because 50% of it goes away. How do you get that into the hands of agents other than doing podcasts like the RE Agent podcast, the number one real estate podcast in the world?
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's everything that we're doing. So we go pretty hard on TikTok, Instagram Reels, LinkedIn. We do podcasts. We're going out to associations and MLSs. We have a couple partnerships with those type of people now. We're doing webinars, going in to speak, do lunch and learns at brokerages. So it's really anything and everything that we can do. And it's working out pretty well right now. And like you said, we're not very old, so we're happy with where it's headed, and we're already seeing it help a lot of agents, which is really the most important part.
Well, it sounds really cool because, like, me and Vic have this conversation all the time about I saw Vic's face light up as soon as you said net commission because it's something that
Yeah.
Vic talks about all the time. Oh, go figure! Like, it's because I think we're in an industry that flaunts GCI or flaunts production. It's like, well,
Right.
yeah, but like, how much money are we actually making? Like, how much money, after all expenses, all everything, everyone gets paid, like, especially on a team, like, when you have your brokerage split, your team split, it's like, sure you're making 100K, but like, vast majority of people, they don't know that 30-40% is going to the IRS, going to the government. They're taking the vast majority of that. So what other things, like, what are you educating on, like, other than providing value around like the net commission, like what other like education tips are you doing, or what are you seeing? I guess the bigger question for me is like, what are some common downfalls that you're seeing? Because you speak to a ton of real estate agents from a financial perspective, like mistakes that they're making that they can avoid.
Yeah, so I'm not a financial advisor or CPA, so first off, but really, it's not even the mistakes they're making. It's that they realize what they need to be. It's not even that they're making mistakes, really. I mean, the biggest mistake you can make is not saving money for taxes, but it's not doing the things they should be to set their career up in the future. And it's mainly there's not enough education around running an actual business as a real estate agent in the beginning. Like, if you go look at anything, you can't find that out there. So what we're doing is we have some highly produced educational content that our users get access to, where we do have financial advisors and CPAs, because like I said, I'm not one, but we have videos like that. We'll be working on more educational content from financial advisors and CPAs and brokers that can give you a good path to go down as a new agent. But yeah, I guess the overarching question, though, the main problem they make is not realizing they're an actual business. They think it's just, I'm a real estate agent and what's my revenue, when they really should be worried about what's my profit.
Dude, I'm so glad you're on the show right now. And I really am, because you're 100% right. Most agents, they don't realize how much work it takes to run a business because they're not entrepreneurs. They're people who want to be, they like houses, they like people, they want to help people get into houses. And it's so much more complicated than that. How would you, I know you're not a financial advisor, I know you're not a CPA, so, just layman's terms, like we all are here. Everybody go do your own research, hire a CPA, hire attorneys, get all of your paperwork set up the right way, get your business structure set up the right way, et cetera, to protect you and your assets. But, I know you're savvy enough that you can give some advice, like an agent that's even seasoned, right? Because there are agents out there that are 10 years that are still running everything under their own name, which is great. Like,
Yeah.
we all do things, but they own a house, they have a couple cars, they might have a couple rentals, and they're running everything in their own name, or you're a brand new agent. What are your recommendations? Like, who should they talk to first? Should they talk to an accountant? Should they talk to a bookkeeper? Should they talk to a lawyer? Like, kind of give a little bit of a game plan of like where an agent should start that doesn't know anything about business, and they're just like doing well, making a couple $100 here and there, a couple 100,000. Where should they go? Like, who should they talk to? Like,
That's a great question. If it was me going back to when I first started, CPA immediately. They'll help you get an LLC going, and not only that, they can lay out a game plan of, hey, if this goes well, here's what we'll do next, and so on. So getting a game plan with a CPA, most important. And then you can start talking to a financial advisor. I think a lot of people think they don't make enough money in the beginning for a financial advisor to be important. But once again, they can give you a game plan of, hey, okay, we'll just save this much this time. We don't have to save a lot, but once you start doing really well, we'll already have this set up for, you to see a lot more success in your financial life.
So number one, CPA, I love it. Go get your business structure set up, whether that's, whatever the structure is that makes sense for you. And your CPA might need to talk to an attorney. And typically the CPA can refer you to a good attorney to get that set up. The second thing you said is really smart. Set up your long term with the, let's say you want to save 10% a month. Go find when you find a financial advisor, make sure they're a fiduciary, you guys. Like that's one of the mistakes I made. Get somebody who's a fiduciary who gets to get a piece of your overall portfolio, not selling the product of the company only. So that way they are invested with you because they want to see you grow over life, and they're going to actually call you and because they're getting a 1-2% of your portfolio, and they are going to provide you better service. So get a financial advisor who's a fiduciary. Who else should they have on their team? Like I think it's
Well, yeah, I was actually going to say something about, you said 10%, like, hey, well, let's save 10% for your retirement from the financial advisor. They're going to want 10% of your profit. So if you don't know your profit, you can't even go to a financial advisor first. So back to the importance of the profit. And they're going to be way less likely to want to work with you if it takes forever to figure that out. So we're working with financial advisors now on these webinars where, they're telling agents, you need to know your actual profit to save money with a financial advisor. Like that's the only way you can do it. If I would look for a CPA 4 years ago when I first started out, I would have gone to agents and asked them. There's a lot of agents in your office. If you're in a good brokerage that's helpful, you can go talk to almost any agent for any advice. And side note, if you're not in a brokerage like that, you should probably look at changing brokerages.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a great side note.
I'm gonna drop a plug because I just joined Phil.
Nice. No, I love what Real's doing.
Yeah, I just joined Real and it's very
agent focused.
Yeah, like I just got on like a lot of their technology, and there's a back end, platform, which is kind of like a Facebook group. And there are so many people dropping nuggets and knowledge. And I'm like, damn, this is like, holy shit. If I had this when I first started with all the questions that I was trying to ask my broker who had no idea about business, I was like, damn,
so
you're crazy.
You're saying it's better than the real estate mastermind on Facebook?
I mean, it's here's my belief. The real estate mastermind group has probably got a lot of super smart people in it. The problem with the groups is when you don't pay attention.
Yeah.
So when you're giving a portion of your commissions to a company, you listen to those people more because you're bought into them. If you're paying a group to be a part of them, you're going to listen to those people more because they're paying, what they're going through. Like you're more connected. So when you pay, you pay attention. If it's free, it's great, but you kind of take everything with a grain of salt because you don't know who's legit or who's not because it's not vetted. Just the way our brains work is that if we're all part of the same community and it's a vetted community, we tend to trust that somebody vetted them appropriately. So yeah, I think that the Real platform people take way more seriously because you also get ownership in the company, which is kind of cool too. Like I would love to buy some ownership in your company, dude. Like I love that idea. Like I love this idea.
That's awesome. Kind of wrapping up here. I just kind of want to give you an opportunity. Like if like a real estate agent were listening to this podcast and they're like, like I need to chat like with Ryan. Like we have to have a conversation about figuring out what my net profit is and like where is kind of the best place to send them when it comes to this. If they want to have a conversation with you about your platform, or they just want to reach out. Maybe it's an agent to agent referral. They're looking for somebody in Kentucky to like. Where is the best place to kind of send them?
Yeah, so if you're wanting to try the app out, Symba, so that's SYMBA, Symba with a Y, you can go to the iOS App Store, or we have an Android app as well, and just search Symba with a Y. You can go to our website, which is getsymba.com, and you can shoot me an email too. That's ryan@getsymba.com. And then if you are an agent out there who's looking for a CPA, you might need one, you might want to switch to one or a new one. We've just launched a new tier, which is a CPA service in partnership with Symba. That is a CPA service experience specifically for only real estate agents.
Man, I just appreciate you so much for taking the time today to kind of like, it sounds like we have a lot of similar ethos to business and to life around, really trying to provide massive value back to the real estate community. so that they can not make the same mistakes that, we've made in the past in business. So I just appreciate it. I appreciate your time today. And thank you for tuning into another episode of the RE Agent Podcast, the #1 real estate podcast in the world. We'll see you soon.